Welcome to a deep dive into a film that, well, you know it, a cinematic giant, one that even decades later, it still holds a place in our collective memory. Cecil B. DeMille's 1956 epics, The Ten Commandments. And we're taking this deep dive because you want to go beyond just knowing the title.
Right.
You want to understand what makes this film, tick.
Yeah.
Why it continues to just capture imaginations.
It's interesting you picked this film.
Yeah.
Because The Ten Commandments wasn't just a movie.
Right.
It was a cultural event.
Wow.
Imagine, it's 1956,
Good.
golden age of Hollywood. Cecil B. DeMille,
Go.
the undisputed king of spectacle,
Yes.
decides to remake his own 1923 silent film
Oh, wow.
in vibrant Technicolor.
Wow.
This wasn't just an update. He was aiming to create the grandest epic ever seen.
It's a level of ambition that's, it's hard to grasp today, isn't it?
It is.
We think of big budget blockbusters.
Right.
But DeMille, he was working on a different scale altogether.
Absolutely.
Filming in Egypt
Yeah.
and the Sinai Peninsula. He used over 14,000 extras
Unbelievable.
and 15,000 animals.
It's incredible.
This wasn't just a film set. It was a temporary city dedicated to bringing the story of Moses to life.
And that's a key point to remember. DeMille wasn't just adapting a story. He was aiming for a visceral, larger-than-life experience.
Yes. Right.
And it's something that's echoed in the casting as well.
Oh, for sure.
You have Charlton Heston as Moses.
Oh, yeah.
A performance that's become synonymous with the role.
Iconic.
Embodying that strength and prophetic leadership.
Yeah, Heston as Moses it's iconic. But what always strikes me is the
Yeah.
intensity of the performances.
Oh, absolutely.
And it wasn't just Heston. You had Brynner as Ramses.
Oh, of course.
He brought a fiery energy
Yes.
to their on-screen dynamic.
Right.
It's like you can feel the tension between those two just clashing.
Absolutely.
Did DeMille specifically encourage that intensity from his actors?
Well, you see, DeMille was known for being, a demanding director.
I can imagine.
With a very clear vision. He knew how to get the best out of his actors, pushing them to their limits.
I bet.
However, both Heston and Brynner
Right.
were powerful personalities in their own right.
Oh, I bet.
So their on-screen chemistry was likely, a combination of DeMille's direction and their own inherent dynamism.
Yeah, it definitely makes for a captivating watch even today.
Oh, absolutely.
And we can't forget Anne Baxter as Nefertiti.
Oh, of course not.
She brought a layer of intrigue to the story.
Absolutely.
This Egyptian princess caught between these powerful men. It wasn't just a biblical epic. It was a story of love and loyalty, ambition, all intertwined.
Precisely. Nefertiti's presence adds a human dimension to the story.
Yes.
Reminding us that even within these grand historical narratives,
Yeah.
there are personal dramas playing out.
Right.
And it's through these human stories that DeMille connects with the audience on, a deeper level,
Right.
making the epic feel intimate.
I see that.
Now, speaking of epic, we have to talk about the parting of the Red Sea.
Okay.
It's the scene everyone remembers, even if you haven't seen the film.
Of course.
Before we dive into how it was made, I want you to imagine, just for a second, being in DeMille's shoes.
Right.
It's 1956, no CGI.
Right.
How would you, as a filmmaker, even begin to approach a scene of that scale and magnitude?
Wow. That's a real head scratcher.
It is.
You've got this massive body of water that needs to split, allowing people and animals to pass through on dry land. The logistics alone seem mind-boggling. I guess you'd need a combination of, clever engineering, innovative camera techniques,
Yes.
and a whole lot of manpower.
You're getting close.
Okay.
What DeMille did was a marvel of practical effects.
Okay.
He used a combination of large tanks,
Okay.
strategically placed dams, and a massive amount of water
Oh, wow.
poured into a specially constructed channel.
Wow.
Then, through carefully timed releases
Wow.
and clever camera angles, he created the illusion of the sea parting.
That's incredible.
Add to that the use of matte paintings, miniatures,
Oh, wow.
and optical compositing, and you start to get a picture of just how much ingenuity went into creating this iconic scene.
It's incredible how they achieved such visual grandeur without the tools we have today.
Yeah.
It just goes to show you the power of a filmmaker with a vision and the determination to bring it to life, even if it means, pushing the boundaries of what's considered possible.
Absolutely.
And it makes you appreciate those practical effects even more,
Yes.
knowing the effort and ingenuity that went into creating them.
Absolutely.
It really does make you realize that sometimes limitations can breed incredible creativity.
Yeah.
Beyond those technical achievements, what really strikes me is how the Ten Commandments, it isn't just about spectacle. It's a film so deeply rooted in themes of faith. Freedom, morality, ideas that resonate with audiences across generations.
Absolutely. And that's what makes it more than just, a visually impressive film. DeMille was a master at weaving those timeless themes into his storytelling. Think about it. The story of Moses leading his people out of slavery, the struggle against a tyrannical pharaoh, the moral dilemmas faced by the characters. These are all universal experiences that speak to the human condition, regardless of, your background or your beliefs.
You're absolutely right. It's those universal themes that make the story feel so relevant even today.
Absolutely.
But was that intentional on DeMille's part?
Well, DeMille was a deeply religious man.
Okay.
And his faith clearly informed his work. He saw the Ten Commandments as, more than just entertainment. It was a way to share his beliefs and inspire others. But his genius lies in the fact that he didn't preach. He told a compelling story, allowing the themes of faith and morality
to emerge organically through the characters and their actions.
And it's that subtlety, that ability to tell a story without hitting you over the head with the message that makes it so effective. It allows you, the viewer, to draw your own conclusions and find your own meaning in the story.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've got the spectacle, we've got the timeless themes, but let's talk about the legacy, the Ten Commandments. I mean, this film is still a staple during Passover and Easter. What do you think contributes to that enduring cultural significance?
I think it's a combination of factors, right? First, there's the sheer scale and spectacle of the film. It's an experience that stays with you, especially if you saw it on the big screen during its initial release. Then there's the familiarity of the story. The Exodus is a foundational narrative for both Judaism and Christianity. So the film taps into this shared cultural and religious heritage. It's true. For many people, their first introduction to the story of Moses might have been through this film.
Oh, absolutely.
And the way DeMille presents it, with all the drama and visual grandeur, it's bound to leave a lasting impression. But it wasn't all smooth sailing, was it? I mean, a film of this magnitude, with its religious subject matter, I mean, it must have sparked some controversy, right?
You're right. It wasn't without its critics. Some found the film to be, overly sentimental or melodramatic, while others questioned DeMille's interpretation of the biblical text.
It's interesting how a film can spark such diverse reactions.
It is.
It really speaks to the power of art to provoke thought and discussion, even if it means challenging people's preconceived notions.
Exactly. And even those who criticize the film acknowledge, its technical brilliance.
Oh, of course.
And the impact it had on popular culture. The Ten Commandments became a part of the cultural lexicon, with phrases and imagery from the film entering our collective consciousness.
It's fascinating how a single film can have such a profound impact on our cultural landscape. But even beyond its immediate impact, the Ten Commandments continues to be studied,
of course,
and analyzed for its cinematic techniques, its portrayal of history, and its exploration of, religious themes. It's a testament to the film's richness and complexity.
Absolutely.
That it can be approached from so many different angles.
And that's what makes it such a rewarding film to revisit.
I agree.
Each viewing reveals new layers of meaning, new details to appreciate, and new questions to ponder. It's a film that continues to grow and evolve with its audience.
I completely agree. It's not just, a piece of entertainment. It's a work of art that invites you to engage with it on multiple levels.
Absolutely.
And that's something we've seen throughout this deep dive. We haven't just been talking about a movie. We've been exploring a cultural phenomenon, a piece of cinematic history that continues to resonate with audiences today.
And it's a testament to DeMille's vision and artistry that a film made over 60 years ago can still spark such passionate discussion and debate.
Speaking of DeMille, I was just thinking about that fun fact we touched on earlier. Charlton Heston's son, Fraser Heston, played baby Moses in the film.
It's amazing.
That must have made for a unique family experience on set.
It must have.
Imagine being a child and being part of a production of that scale.
It's a wonderful anecdote that reveals, a more human side to this grand production.
Right.
It reminds us that behind the spectacle, behind the thousands of extras and elaborate sets, there were real people, families even working together to create this cinematic masterpiece.
It's a nice reminder that even epics are made by people, with all their individual stories and connections.
It is.
Okay, so before we wrap up our deep dive, there's one more thing I want to touch upon.
Of course. What's on your mind?
Well, we've talked about the film's technical brilliance.
Yeah.
Its enduring themes, its cultural impact. But what about its flaws?
Okay.
No film is perfect, right?
Right.
And I'm curious to know if there are any aspects of the Ten Commandments that you find problematic or that haven't aged well.
That's a great question. It's important to remember that the Ten Commandments is a product of its time.
Right.
And as such, it reflects some of the societal norms and biases that were prevalent in the 1950s. For example, the film has been criticized for its portrayal of gender roles, with women often relegated to supporting roles or depicted as objects of desire.
You're right. Seen through a modern lens, some of those portrayals might seem outdated or even offensive.
Yeah.
But I guess it's important to view the film within its historical context.
It is.
And acknowledge that societal attitudes have evolved over time.
Yeah, precisely. It's not about dismissing or condoning those aspects, but rather understanding how they reflect the cultural landscape of the time.
Right.
And it's those very flaws, those imperfections that make the film so fascinating to analyze and discuss.
Yeah.
They offer us a glimpse into the past, inviting us to reflect on how far we've come as a society and how our perspectives on representation and inclusivity have changed.
It's a reminder that even classic films can be viewed through a critical lens,
allowing
us to engage in meaningful conversations about social progress and the evolution of storytelling. It's amazing how a film like this can spark so many layers of conversation.
It is.
We've gone from those impressive practical effects to those timeless themes, and even how the film stands up to modern scrutiny. It really shows you why the Ten Commandments is more than just a movie. It's like a cultural touchstone. But before we wrap up our deep dive, I have to ask you, knowing how much work went into this film, how groundbreaking those effects were, and knowing that it only won one Oscar for Best Visual Effects. Is that kind of a letdown?
It might seem surprising, considering the film's grandeur and its 7 nominations. But it's important to remember that the Academy Awards are a reflection of the industry's tastes and preferences at a particular moment in time. Back in 1957, films like Around the World in 80 Days and The King and I were more in line with the Academy's sensibilities.
So perhaps the Ten Commandments, with its biblical epic scale, was just a little too, epic for the Academy's taste back then.
Perhaps. However, the film's impact extends far beyond awards and accolades. Its true legacy lies in its enduring popularity, its influence on subsequent filmmakers, and its continued relevance in discussions about faith, history, and cinema.
It's true. Awards are nice. But the fact that we're still talking about this film over 6 decades later speaks volumes about its lasting power.
It does.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the Ten Commandments, I want to leave you with a final thought.
All right.
The Ten Commandments is a film that has sparked countless conversations and interpretations. If you could ask Cecil B. DeMille one question about the making of this film, what would it be?
What a fantastic question to ponder.
Yeah.
It really highlights how the Ten Commandments isn't just like a passive viewing experience. It's a film that engages your mind, sparks your curiosity, and leaves you wanting to delve deeper into its creation, its themes, and its lasting impact.
And that's what makes this deep dive so rewarding. We've gone beyond just watching a movie.
Absolutely.
We've explored the historical context, the technical achievements, the cultural significance, and even the criticism surrounding this cinematic giant.
And through that exploration, we've gained a richer appreciation for the artistry, the vision, and the enduring power of the Ten Commandments.
Absolutely. It's a film that deserves to be celebrated, studied, and debated for generations to come. And hopefully, this deep dive has given you a new perspective on this cinematic masterpiece and left you with some food for thought.